You've read the articles, watched the videos, saved the posts. You probably know more about personal finance than 90% of the people around you, and yet the bank account doesn't reflect it. The retirement number still feels impossibly far away. The gap between what you know and what you've actually implemented keeps widening, and somewhere in the back of your mind, you're aware that knowing isn't the same as doing. Here's what nobody tells you about financial advice. Most people will hear 100 money tips in their lifetime and actually use maybe 5 of them. Not because the other 95 were bad, because they heard them at the wrong time, in the wrong context, or buried inside content they forgot by the next morning. This video contains 100 money tips. Some of them will sound familiar. Some of them will feel like common sense. But statistically, at least a few of them are going to land differently today than they would have landed last year. Because you're in a different place now. Your situation has changed. Your problems have shifted. And the tip that changes everything for you might be number 7, or number 43, or number 89. You won't know until you hear it. I've organized these into sections: mindset, saving, debt, earning, investing, advanced strategies, and lifestyle. If there's one area of your finances that needs the most work right now, you can skip to that section. But honestly, the tip that transforms your financial life might be hiding in a category you think you've already mastered. Let's get into it. Everything starts with what you believe about money, which is why the first 15 tips are about mindset, and why most people skip this section entirely, which is exactly why they stay stuck. Tip 1. Believe that financial freedom is actually possible for you. This sounds obvious, but it's not. If somewhere deep down you've decided that wealth is for other people with different backgrounds, different advantages, different luck, you'll unconsciously sabotage every strategy you try. Your behaviors follow your beliefs. If the belief says impossible, the behavior says why bother? Tip 2. Define your why. The path to financial freedom requires doing things that are uncomfortable, boring, and sometimes painful. Without a clear reason behind the sacrifice, you'll quit the moment it gets hard. For some people, it's freedom to spend time with their kids. For others, it's the ability to travel, or to never answer to a boss again, or to take care of aging parents without financial stress. Whatever it is for you, make it specific. Make it emotional. Write it down somewhere you'll see it. Tip 3. Calculate your freedom number. Financial freedom isn't some arbitrary $1,000,000 figure. It's math. Calculate your actual monthly living expenses. Reduce them as much as realistically possible. Then, figure out how much invested capital you'd need to generate that monthly income indefinitely, or what combination of income streams could cover it. That's your number. Everything else is just working backward from there. Tip 4. Front load the pain. We generally get paid in proportion to the value we provide. If you can compress several years of intense effort into a shorter period, learning valuable skills, building systems, creating assets, you can earn 5 years of results in 2 years of time. The people who coast early pay for it later. The people who sprint early get to rest sooner. Tip 5. Never follow the crowd. The average American is broke, stressed, and planning to work until 65 before enjoying a few years of retirement. If your goal is to have different results, you need different behaviors. Assume that whatever most people are doing with money is probably wrong, because statistically, it is. Tip 6. Embrace being different. This goes beyond just avoiding crowd behavior. Actively seek out the unconventional path. Wear clothes from thrift stores. Drive an older car. Live somewhere cheaper than you could technically afford. Eat differently. Work differently. The discomfort of being unusual is temporary. The freedom it creates is permanent. Tip 7. Build systems instead of goals. Goals are outcomes. Systems are processes. If you have a goal to save $10,000, but no system for making it happen automatically, you're relying on willpower, which fails. Build the system first. The goal handles itself. Tip 8. Learn consistently. Nobody inherently knows how to budget, invest, or build wealth. These are learned skills. One book isn't enough. One video isn't enough. Make financial education a permanent fixture in your life. Podcasts, books, conversations with people who've done what you want to do. The person you are in 5 years will be shaped largely by what you learn between now and then. Tip 9. Take the low-hanging fruit. Before you optimize anything complex, handle the obvious stuff. Compare car insurance rates. Switch to a cheaper phone plan. Cancel subscriptions you forgot you had. These small switches made once can save you hundreds of dollars every month for years without requiring any ongoing effort. Tip 10. Understand that tomorrow never comes. If you're planning to start budgeting next week, or get serious about investing after the new year, or tackle your debt once things settle down, you probably won't. Research confirms this. The best time to start was years ago. The second best time is right now. Not tomorrow. Now. Tip 11. Know your values before you budget. A budget that ignores what actually matters to you will always fail. Before allocating numbers, get clear on what you genuinely value. Experiences, security, generosity, whatever. Then, build the budget around those values, GDK of arbitrary categories. Tip 12. Track your net worth monthly. GDK gets measured, gets managed. Knowing your net worth, assets minus liabilities, GDK, whether you're moving forward or backward. The number itself matters less than the direction. Tip 13. Stop comparing your Chapter 1 to someone else's GDK 20. The person you're jealous of probably started years before you, or had advantages you can't see, or is actually in debt behind the scenes. Comparison destroys motivation. Run your own race. Tip 14. Accept that you will make mistakes. Financial perfection doesn't exist. You'll buy things you regret. You'll miss investment opportunities. You'll make dumb decisions under pre-DK. The goal isn't to avoid all mistakes. It's to learn from them faster than the average person. Tip 15. Understand that money is emotional, not logical. Most financial decisions are driven by feelings, not spreadsheets. Fear, insecurity, desire for status, childhood experiences with scarcity or abundance. These shape your money behaviors more than any calculator. Knowing this gives you power over it. With the right mindset in place, the next section focuses on actually keeping more of what you earn gay. These 20 tips cover saving money in ways that compound over time. Tip 16. Target a 50 to 75% savings rate. This sounds extreme because it is. GDK save 5 to 10% and wonder why freedom takes 40 years. A higher savings rate isn't GDK about accumulating more. It's a GDK your freedom number gets smaller too. Tip 17. Focus on the big three first. Housing, transportation, and food consume the majority of most GDK. Before you stress about coffee GDKs, optimize these three categories. A cheaper apartment saves more than 1,000 skipped lattes. Tip 18. Consider house hacking. Buy a 2 to 4 unit property with a first-time homebuyer loan. Live in one unit, rent out the others. Your tenants pay your mortgage while you build equity. Repeat the process every few years and you can own multiple properties within a decade. Tip 19. Buy cars that don't lose value. Purchase a reliable used car, something 5 to 10 years old, in cash. Drive it for 2 to 3 years. Sell it for roughly what you paid. This is essentially free transportation if you choose the right vehicle. Tip 20. Meal plan like your freedom depends on it. Food waste is money waste. Plan your meals for the week. Buy only what you need. Cook in batches. The average household throws away over $1,000 of food annually. That's money you worked for going directly into the trash. Tip 21. Cancel recurring expenses you've forgotten about. Audit every subscription. If you haven't used it in 30 days, cancel it. The average American spends over $200 monthly on subscriptions they barely notice. Tip 22. Buy generic everything. Name brands and store brands are often manufactured in the same facilities. The difference is marketing and packaging. Stop paying for labels. Tip 23. Use credit card rewards strategically. Sign up for cards with large welcome bonuses. Hit the minimum spend using purchases you'd make anyway. Collect the points or cash back. Cancel before annual fees hit. Repeat. This can fund multiple flights per year if done correctly. Tip 24. Never pay bank fees. Americans pay over $300 annually in bank fees on average. Switch to a no-fee bank. Use ATMs in network. Set up alerts to avoid overdrafts. This is free money you're giving away for no reason. Tip 25. Use credit cards the right way, or not at all. If you can't pay your balance in full every single month, credit cards are costing you money, not saving it. The average credit card APR in 2026 is over 22%. Even the best rewards can't offset that. Pay in full or cut the card up. Tip 26. Switch to black coffee. A $5 daily latte habit costs $1,800 per year. Making coffee at home costs maybe $200. That's $1,600 annually, which, invested over 30 years at 10%, becomes over $260,000. A small daily habit with massive long-term consequences. Tip 27. Pack your lunch. Eating out costs 2 to 3 times more than preparing food at home. 30 minutes of meal prep once per week saves thousands annually. Tip 28. Buy things you love instead of things on sale. Sales trick you into buying things you don't actually want. When everything you own is something you genuinely love, you stop looking for more. Buy less, but buy better. Tip 29. Calculate cost per use before purchasing. A $50 shirt worn 50 times costs $1 per wear. A $10 shirt worn once costs $10 per wear. The cheap option is actually 10 times more expensive. Quality items used frequently beat cheap items used rarely. Tip 30. Avoid extended warranties. Retailers make 80% profit margins on extended warranties. They're betting you'll never use it, and statistically, they're right. Self-insure by keeping an emergency fund instead. Tip 31. Stop buying bottled water. Bottled water costs roughly 2,000 times more than filtered tap water. Buy a filter. Refill a reusable bottle. Save hundreds per year. Tip 32. Negotiate everything. Call your internet provider and threaten to cancel. They'll offer discounts you didn't know existed. Do the same with insurance, phone plans, and any recurring service. The worst they can say is no. Tip 33. Use the 30-day rule. Want something non-essential? Write it down and wait 30 days. If you still want it after a month, buy it. Most of the time, you'll forget it existed. Tip 34. Invest in quality for things between you and the ground. Your mattress, your shoes, your desk chair, things that affect your physical health deserve higher spending. The savings from cheap versions get erased by medical bills and reduced productivity. Tip 35. Automate your savings. Set up automatic transfers on payday so the money moves before you see it. You can't spend what you never had access to. Treat savings like a bill that gets paid first. Saving money only works if you're not losing it to debt, which is why the next section covers debt management, the thing that traps most Americans in cycles they can't escape. Tip 36. Understand the difference between good debt and bad debt. Good debt puts money in your pocket. Mortgages on rental properties, business loans that generate revenue, education that directly increases earning power. Bad debt takes money out of your pocket. Credit cards, car loans on depreciating assets, consumer financing. People who build wealth use good debt strategically. People who stay broke get crushed by bad debt. Tip 37. Pay off highest interest debt first. If you have a credit card at 22% and a mortgage at 6%, attack the credit card first. The math is unambiguous. Every dollar paid toward high-interest debt earns you a guaranteed return equal to that interest rate. Tip 38. Sometimes it's smart to not pay off your mortgage. If your mortgage rate is 3 or 4% and you can earn 10% in the stock market on average, mathematically, you're better off investing the extra money instead of paying down the mortgage early. This depends on your risk tolerance and mental comfort with debt. Tip 39. Don't always follow the math. For some people, the psychological stress of carrying any debt outweighs the mathematical benefit of keeping low-interest loans. If debt keeps you up at night, pay it off regardless of the interest rate. Peace of mind has value that doesn't show up on spreadsheets. Tip 40. Don't consolidate debt without changing behavior. Consolidation loans feel like progress, but if you don't address the spending habits that created the debt, You'll end up with a consolidation loan plus new credit card balances. Fix the behavior first. Tip 41. Think carefully before taking student loans. If you don't know what career you want, going into 6 figures of debt for a degree you might not use is one of the worst financial decisions possible. An incredibly high percentage of graduates don't work in their field of study. The debt follows them anyway. Tip 42. Never use payday loans. These charge effective interest rates of 400% or higher and trap people in cycles that can take years to escape. Avoid them completely. If you're considering one, you have an emergency fund problem that needs solving differently. Tip 43. Build a 3 to 6 month emergency fund. This is the foundation that makes everything else possible. With a fully funded emergency fund, you never need to use credit cards for unexpected expenses. You never need to sell investments at the wrong time. You have options when life gets difficult. Tip 44. Keep your emergency fund in a high-yield savings account. In 2026, high-yield accounts are paying 4 to 5% APY. That's real money on a $20,000 emergency fund, $800 to $1,000 annually just for parking your cash in the right place. Tip 45. Know your debt payoff date. Calculate exactly when you'll be debt-free if you maintain current payments. Having a specific date makes the goal tangible and keeps you motivated. Once you've stopped the bleeding from debt and built savings habits, the next leverage point is increasing your income. These tips focus on making more money. Tip 46. Avoid unscalable side hustles. Driving for rideshare or delivering food trades time for money at a fixed rate. There's a ceiling. Scalable side hustles, content creation, digital products, freelance services start slower but have unlimited upside. Build something that can grow. Tip 47. Try random things. You won't know what works until you try it. People make livings from the most unexpected ventures. Test ideas quickly, fail cheaply, and double down on what gains traction. Tip 48. Work to learn, not just to earn. Early in your career, optimizing for skill acquisition beats optimizing for salary. The skills you build in your 20s determine your earning potential for decades. Take the job that teaches you valuable things, even if it pays less initially. Tip 49. Build multiple streams of income. If you have a salary plus rental income plus investment dividends plus a side project, losing your job isn't catastrophic. Diversified income creates resilience. Tip 50. Negotiate your salary annually. Most people leave thousands on the table every year because they don't ask for raises. Document your contributions. Research market rates. Make the ask. The worst outcome is hearing no, which changes nothing. Tip 51. Budget your time, not just your money. Time is your most valuable asset. Track where it goes. Identify what's wasting it. Reallocate toward income-generating activities and things that genuinely fulfill you. Tip 52. Assign yourself a high hourly value. If you decide your time is worth $200 per hour, you'll stop wasting it on things that aren't worth $200 per hour. This mindset shift changes everything about how you spend your days. Tip 53. Lean into your strengths instead of fixing your weaknesses. School taught you to improve your worst subjects. The real world rewards people who double down on what they're already good at and outsource the rest. Tip 54. Create content around your expertise. YouTube, blogs, newsletters, courses, these let you monetize knowledge you already have. Even if you never build a large audience, the process of teaching clarifies your own thinking and opens unexpected doors. Tip 55. Network with purpose. You become the average of the people you spend the most time with. Be intentional about surrounding yourself with people who are where you want to be financially. Tip 56. Take calculated risks. Playing it safe guarantees average results. Significant financial outcomes require putting yourself in situations where failure is possible. The key word is calculated. Understand the downside before you leap. Tip 57. Learn sales and marketing. Everything is sales. Getting hired is selling yourself. Getting promoted is selling your value. Starting a business is selling your product. Learn this skill set and it pays dividends forever. Tip 58. Pursue remote work. Working from home eliminates commute time, reduces transportation costs, and opens geographic arbitrage opportunities. Even if it takes years to achieve, it's worth pursuing. Tip 59. Build a freedom fund beyond your emergency fund. Emergency funds cover unexpected expenses. Freedom funds cover opportunities, the ability to take a pay cut for a better position, move for a new job, or quit to start something new. 3 to 6 months of expenses in a separate account creates options. Tip 60. Maximize your employer match. If your company matches 401k contributions, contribute at least enough to get the full match. It's literally free money, an instant 50 or 100% return before your investment even grows. Tip 61. Learn AI tools. AI is transforming every industry. People who learn to use these tools effectively will outperform those who don't by an enormous margin over the next decade. The time to learn is now, while it's still a competitive advantage rather than a baseline expectation. Tip 62. Develop a personal brand. Your online presence is now part of your resume. Future employers, clients, and partners will search for you. Having a clear professional identity opens doors that cold applications can't. Tip 63. Start before you're ready. You will never feel ready to start a business, ask for a raise, make a major financial move, or change your life. Do it anyway. Readiness is a myth. Action creates clarity. With income growing and debt under control, the next section addresses what to do with the money you're accumulating. These investing tips separate people who earn well from people who build wealth. Tip 64. Invest in low-cost index funds. The S&P 500 has beaten most actively managed funds over the long term while charging expense ratios under 0.1%. Keep it simple. Buy the whole market. Stop trying to pick winners. Tip 65. Automate your investing. Set up automatic contributions weekly or monthly. When investing happens without requiring a decision, it happens consistently. Consistency beats timing. Tip 66. Don't try to time the market. Buying low and selling high sounds logical. In practice, almost nobody does it successfully. Time in the market beats timing the market virtually every time. Tip 67. Understand compound interest. $1,000 invested at 10% annual returns becomes over $17,000 in 30 years without adding another penny. The math is almost magical, but only if you start early and let it run. Tip 68. Consider real estate investing. Rental properties generate monthly cash flow while appreciating in value and providing tax benefits. The barrier to entry is higher than stocks, but the returns can be significant. Tip 69. Use the house hacking progression. Buy a multifamily property, live in one unit, rent the others. After 2 years, buy another and repeat. By your third property, you can have a home while the previous rentals pay for it. 5 years of sacrifice can create decades of passive income. Tip 70. Dollar cost average consistently. Invest the same amount on the same schedule regardless of market conditions. You'll buy more shares when prices are low and fewer when prices are high. Over time, this averages out to a favorable cost basis. Tip 71. Avoid emotional investing. The urge to sell during downturns and buy during euphoria is strong and exactly wrong. If you can't resist checking your portfolio and reacting emotionally, stop checking. Automate contributions and look away. Tip 72. Understand your risk tolerance and stage of life. Someone at 25 with decades until retirement should invest differently than someone at 55. Your allocation should reflect your timeline and your ability to stomach volatility without panic selling. Tip 73. Learn about taxes and minimize them legally. Tax-advantaged accounts, strategic timing of capital gains, business deductions, these can save you thousands annually. What you keep matters as much as what you earn. Tip 74. Don't chase performance. By the time you hear about a hot stock or trending investment, you're probably too late. The smart money has already positioned itself and is waiting for retail investors to buy in so they can sell out. Stick to your strategy. Tip 75. Understand inflation. Money sitting in a checking account earning nothing loses purchasing power every year. $100,000 in January 2020 has the buying power of roughly $125,000 in 2026. If your income hasn't increased by that percentage, you've effectively taken a pay cut. Tip 76. Invest in yourself before anything else. $1,000 spent on books, courses, or skill development can return far more than the same amount in the stock market. Knowledge compounds too, and nobody can take it from you. Tip 77. Read constantly. Books remain the highest return investment available. A $20 book containing decades of someone's experience is absurdly underpriced. Read widely and often. Tip 78. Diversify across asset classes. Stocks, bonds, real estate, cash reserves. Spreading investments across different categories reduces risk without sacrificing long-term returns. No single asset class wins forever. Tip 79. Reinvest dividends automatically. Dividend reinvestment compounds your returns without requiring any action. Let the money work for itself. Tip 80. Ignore short-term market noise. Daily market movements are mostly irrelevant to long-term investors. The news makes everything feel urgent. Zoom out. The trajectory over decades matters. The trajectory over days doesn't. Once you've mastered the fundamentals, advanced strategies can accelerate your progress. These tips require more sophistication but offer greater leverage. Tip 81. Use other people's money strategically. Good debt lets you control assets you couldn't afford outright. A $200,000 property purchased with $20,000 down means you're using $180,000 of the bank's money to build your wealth. The gains accrue to you. The risk is manageable if you buy right. Tip 82. Optimize for cash flow over net worth. Paper wealth doesn't pay bills. Monthly income does. Focus on building streams that put money in your account every 30 days rather than assets that only look good on a balance sheet. Tip 83. Create systems for everything. When saving, investing, budgeting, and earning operate on autopilot, you remove willpower from the equation. Systems scale. Discipline doesn't. Tip 84. Take advantage of business structures. Moving from a sole proprietorship to an LLC to an S-Corp at the right income levels can save tens of thousands in taxes annually. Consult professionals to optimize your structure. Tip 85. Use geographic arbitrage. Earn a high cost of living salary while living in a low cost of living location. Remote work makes this possible. Someone earning a New York salary while living in a small town or a lower-cost country can reach financial freedom years faster than someone whose income and expenses are both high. Tip 86. Plan your estate. Nobody likes thinking about death, but having clear documentation of how your assets should be handled protects your family from legal chaos and ensures your wealth goes where you want it to go. Tip 87. Consider alternative investments. Once your foundation is solid, small allocations to less conventional assets, private businesses, collectibles, angel investments can provide asymmetric upside. The risk is higher, the returns can be too. Tip 88. Outsource low-value tasks. If you can pay someone $5 to $15 per hour to do something that frees you to work on things worth $50 to $500 per hour, the math is obvious. Use virtual assistants, AI tools, and service providers to buy back your time. Tip 89. Build a team. You can only scale so far alone. Eventually, building wealth requires other people, employees, partners, advisors. Learn to delegate and trust. Tip 90. Think in decades, not years. Most people overestimate what they can accomplish in 1 year and underestimate what they can accomplish in 10. Patience and consistency beat intensity and burnout. The final section covers lifestyle, because financial freedom without life satisfaction is just a different kind of prison. Tip 91. Define your enough. Without knowing what enough looks like, you'll chase more forever. Define the income level, the net worth, the lifestyle that would genuinely satisfy you. Then stop moving the goalpost once you reach it. Tip 92. Avoid lifestyle inflation. When income increases, spending naturally wants to increase too. Resist this. Direct raises towards savings and investments before they become expectations. The person who earns more but spends the same accelerates dramatically toward freedom. Tip 93. Prioritize experiences over things. Research consistently shows that experiences create more lasting happiness than possessions. Travel, relationships, and memories appreciate over time. Stuff depreciates. Tip 94. Stop trying to impress people. Most visible wealth is debt in disguise. The person with the luxury car and designer clothes might be broke behind the scenes. Build actual wealth instead of performing it. Tip 95. Practice gratitude daily. Wanting more is endless. Appreciating what you have creates contentment that more money can't buy. Gratitude isn't just emotional, it changes spending behavior. Tip 96. Maintain your relationships. Money is the leading cause of divorce. Financial stress destroys friendships and families. As you pursue wealth, don't sacrifice the people who make life meaningful. Tip 97. Protect your health. Trading health for money and then spending money to recover health is a losing game. Exercise, sleep, nutrition, and stress management aren't separate from financial success. They're prerequisites for it. Tip 98. Remember that money is a tool. It's not good or evil. It amplifies who you already are. Used well, it creates freedom, security, and the ability to help others. Used poorly, it creates stress, isolation, and regret. Tip 99. Understand that money can buy certain kinds of happiness. Specifically, it buys freedom. Freedom from bosses, from financial stress, from the inability to handle emergencies, from being trapped in situations you'd rather leave. That freedom creates space for happiness that poverty makes difficult. Tip 100. Take action on what you've learned. This is the tip that separates people who change from people who just consume information. You've now heard 100 money tips. Most people will close this video and do nothing. The ones who change are the ones who implement, even if it's just 1 or 2 tips this week. And that brings me to the thread that connects all 100 of these tips together. None of this is secret knowledge. None of it requires a finance degree or special access or wealthy parents. Every tip in this video is available to anyone willing to learn. The problem is that nobody teaches this stuff systematically. School covers subjects you'll never use while ignoring the one topic that affects every single day of your adult life. Parents do their best, but often don't understand these principles themselves. The financial industry profits from your confusion, so they're not exactly motivated to simplify things. What you just watched is financial literacy, the comprehensive understanding of how money actually works, how to save it, how to avoid losing it to debt, how to earn more of it, how to invest it, how to use it strategically, how to build a life around it instead of being controlled by it. I made a complete breakdown that goes even deeper on the fundamentals, how compound interest works when it's on your side versus against you, how debt traps form and how to escape them, how to build systems that make wealth accumulation automatic instead of requiring constant willpower. If you recognize yourself in more than a few of these tips, if you realize there are gaps between what you know and what you're actually doing, that video is your next step. Because here's the truth about financial tips. Knowing them isn't enough. Everyone knows they should spend less than they earn and invest the difference. Knowing doesn't change behavior. Understanding does. Systems do. Actually implementing one tip at a time until it becomes automatic does. You've just heard 100 tips. Don't try to use all of them. Pick 3 that hit closest to where you are right now. Implement those this month. Make them automatic. Then pick 3 more. 1 year from now, your financial position will look completely different. 5 years from now, you'll look back at this video as a turning point. Not because the information was revolutionary, but because you actually did something with it. Most people won't. Most people will move on to the next video, the next article, the next piece of advice they'll consume without implementing. Don't be most people. The gap between where you are and where you want to be isn't information, it's action. Start now.